Good morning, traders. Hope you had a great weekend. It is Monday morning, just a hair after 8:30. Just taking a look around the markets, getting bearings on things since last night. Hope you're doing good. Reading through some of Trump's Twitter feed here. It was good, thanks. Busy but good. Hey, J-Money, class. Relaxing weekends are the way to go, that's for sure. Trying to see if I can beat these allergies this morning. We'll see. Spent a little time outside in the woods yesterday, and now I've been sneezing all morning, so we'll see how it goes. Let's take a look at some of these charts here. I only have 2 live trades going right now. One is a short in the Euro Aussie. We got a nice line here, descending trend line on the Euro Aussie. Obviously, you guys already know what happened with the French elections. And the winner was as expected. Last night on my other account, I have another, I think you all know this, but I have 3 trade accounts. This one, and then one that's copied, and then one with a different broker that I do some little scalping with. And last night I took 3 trades. I gave the market, I think it was 3 hours to open or so, maybe 4. And I took a scalp long on euro dollar, euro yen, and euro pound. The euro yen got stopped. The euro pound and euro dollar I took off. But they were a lot smaller orders. Most of my order sizes, as you can see here from my charts, are 1.5, 1.8, 1 lot scaled in, maybe 2 lots, and these were 0.3 orders. So not too concerned with that. But it was fun and interesting to watch that fade come in right after the market opened. A lot of traders thought we should be taking buy the euro. And I took a very calculated thought on that. I let the market gap up. Let's just look at that right away. Where is it? Let me get rid of all my lines on the charts here. So this is the euro dollar 15-minute time frame. Of course, we had the gap upwards, and then we had this drift down and this retracement up and drift down. And I got long on the euro dollar somewhere in this area. I don't know the exact price point. I can check, but it's really irrelevant here. And then we had the spike up, and this is where I was thinking, okay, we're going to do okay. And I moved my stops up, and my risk, I think on my other account, if I look here just on my mobile, and on the euro yen, I think I had 20 some pips stop. And on the euro pound and euro dollar, yeah, euro pound and euro dollar, I got out before my stop. 7 pips on one and 12 on the other with a 0.3 lot. So we're not talking too big of a hit here, but interesting what happened, right? Profit taking, all this overextension on the euro dollar to the upside. A lot of traders were looking at this number, I know, right up at our key area of support, 109.50. We're currently sitting under that now. Not too far under, but just a little bit under. Mark is trying to find his footing. Here in the US, when the forex market opens on Sunday evening, I've said it in my videos, the videos we did last year, over and over again. You know, you got to find the time that's right for you. And the time that I do my best trading, and I've tracked this pretty darn well over the last 6-7 years anyway of tracking, has been midday Monday through Friday morning. So Friday afternoon, not the best. Sundays, Monday morning, not the best. You know, trying to give the market some time, you know. Like the stock markets right now, we're just opening up very mixed. Nothing major, slightly down. news that came out. We had Chinese trade balance that came out better than expected, which can support the Aussie. French holiday today, of course, in Europe. We got retail sales out of the Australian dollar later today, but overall, pretty quiet news. We had the Halifax HPI out of Great Britain overnight that came out a little bit negative, but nothing too out of control. So right now, the trades that I have going on, they're up about $100 total. I have the sell on the Euro Aussie moving down. I don't have any targets on the Euro Aussie short set yet. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Husky Trader. I'm in the central U.S., central time zone. If you look at the Euro Aussie, again, this is something I was going to post in a trade idea last night. Did not have the time to do it, though. This could rise here. We could see the markets come around, but it's a nice area of structural resistance. Again, it's a little early. This isn't my most successful, time to be trading overall on my history, if you're looking at past performance. But we have the Euro Aussie that bounced down a couple of times. Now we're coming up right on this gray box of resistance. We have the descending trend line. Not the worst reward to risk on the Euro versus the Aussie. We had a Fibonacci level that I was watching last night. 23.6 that we broke through a couple times of this move upwards. And if we take the whole move up, we look for confluence of these areas, which the closest confluence we're going to get here in the near term are the 23.6 of the long-term move and the 50 of the short term. Shorter term, that would put us somewhere around 46.83 as a possible target to the downside. Stops are right up here at this red line here, which is coming in at 48.59, 48.60, I think. So that'll give us a target on the Euro Aussie short of roughly 125, 130 pips with a stop of 40 some. Yeah. So sort of intraday, sort of swing trade, not a long-term trade. I like the 23.6 of the longer term and the 50 of the shorter term, Fibonacci retracement, because they bring us up a good 30 pips above this support area at 46.51. So that's my play on the Euro Aussie. We could even throw another one in here on the daily if we wanted. I probably want to be changing these colors a little bit here on this one. Don't want to get them too confused when we're looking at the chart. And you can see down in this area, I don't know how well you can see it because I have thinner lines, but the 23.6 fib of the shorter term time frame comes in around 46.90. The 50% of the moderate time frame comes in at 46.76, 78. And the longer term 23.6, going all the way back to the daily zoomed out a bit, comes in at 46.63. So I would even put this target just a little bit higher, just to be a little more conservative, 46.92. But I like this trade. I like this trade to the downside. I think we're going to see something like this happen with it. I think we're going to see a push down. I know I'm sort of zoomed out a little. I wanted to see if I could fit this all in here to get a better view of it. I'm going to see this push down. And then, of course, our typical zigzag as the market does its organic breathing and moving through. I mean, if you saw that happen, that wouldn't be very shocking at all, would it? I mean, that's pretty controlled risk. Again, we don't win them all. Don't take this trade just definitely based on my thoughts here, but something just for you to watch. Euro Aussie to the downside. Also my favorite pair to trade. Hey, Ladybug, that's great. We do have kombucha brewing up, and we do have local honey. It's great. Local honey tends to work the best for me. Get all that pollen, all that good local nectar from the area in your body. I like that idea. DX white oil. Let's take a look. Me on the mics. Let's see what we got. Crude. Crude. I'm not personally going to touch crude or the CAD for a little while until things settle out a little bit more. Taking an eye on some of my other charts here. Crude obviously bounced up pretty nicely from its bottom. The bottom on my broker here was put in at about 43.73. Currently at 46.29. Pretty strong, as you know very much. We were talking about the support level of 47.05, 47.10, 47 basically. And now that level is a pretty strong area of resistance. Obviously here in a downtrend on crude. Silver still. How low will it go? A couple traders were talking about this with me just yesterday, Sunday evening. How low will silver go? Sitting at 16.29. 16.15 is the support level that I have on my broker from back on November 24th, 25th, 26th in this area right here. Otherwise, the next one's at 15.63. Could we take a long term here? I think so. I think this is a pretty calculated risk. I was eyeing this up a little bit last night as well. I'm going to put just a little smaller size on this one. And the stops that I had planned were beneath a little ways. I think we were at 15.90 when I was talking with them yesterday. So I'm going to put that in right now. I'm going to take a little long here on silver. We're getting a bounce here, just very slightly higher highs. Definitely not a very confident trade. On my scale of 0 to 10, I'd put that about a 5, maybe a 4. Dollar yen. I'm going to clear everything off from before. I'm short on dollar yen right now. Currently up a few pips. That's about it, 3-4 pips. I still feel like the market's trying to find its place. 112.74, 112.75. My entry in on euro yen short is at 112.75.9, so we'll call it 112.76. My stop is way up in this area. $113. Targets in dollar yen. 112.19. Could even be a little bit more conservative with the targets here on dollar yen. My stop on dollar yen is roughly 30 pips, 28 pips. My take profit area, my target's about 50 some. I would be okay bringing this target up just a little, maybe to 112.30. Because we do have this swing high. I was looking at this earlier as well. We do have this swing high over here. If we look left, put it on May 2nd. So targets could be in this area as well. I'm going to put them here just for the time being. 112.30. So that gives us roughly 25 pip stop, 26, 7 pip stop. and a 40 hits. I mean, it's greater than a 2-to-1, roughly a 2-to-1. What I'm doing this morning here is just trying to skip out on my psychological rambling and fundamental analysis and just look at trades I'm in and tell you where I think things are going. Dollar index is definitely having a little bit of a pop here. Obviously hugely important for a lot of these trades. I'm sitting at 98.85 right now. We made it down to the Trump candle that Andrew talks about. That was put in here on November 9th. This long candle with the wick right in this area. The top of the quote-unquote Trump candle, if you will, was sitting just about 98.70, 98.67. We had the strong area of support that we pierced through, and now we're getting a bounce back up, sitting at 98.86. Here's what I think is going to happen in the, throughout this day. This is my overall bias. I think we're going to see some strengthening of the dollar. I'm expecting to see euro dollar, pound dollar, and Aussie dollar continue lower and possibly take a ride up on the dollar CAD. We've been talking for the last couple of weeks about just trying to find the right place to get long on some of these CAD pairs. Dollar CAD gave us a good entry back here. I didn't not get in on the dollar CAD, sitting at 136.97 right now. EuroCAD's given us a decent pullback, 150 pips. On the EuroCAD, there was an interesting level here coming up as well. It was right here. This trend line. This could be a little bit higher, but you get the idea. And we came down into that, pierced through. Now we're sitting right at the level. I think EuroCAD to the upside is a great trade. So I'm biased long on EuroCAD, dollar CAD, short on euro dollar, pound dollar, and Aussie dollar. I have a sell on dollar yen. I think that's going to be a little bit sideways, a little bit choppy for a while, but I'm okay with that. I am okay with a little bit of choppiness on that trade. Crude, I'm not convinced is going up, although we have a lot of resistance coming up around 47.05. Silver, have a little long here on silver. Again, this isn't perfect, but you get the idea there. We'll see if that slightly inclining support level holds or not on silver. Gold, also very mixed. I think gold has room to go to the downside still, which is why I didn't go too big on silver. Didn't put my stops too close. I still think gold will be going down just a little bit lower here. We have this area of confluence and price along the support area. We're at 1229 currently, 1229.05-ish. Just take a look here. Yeah, Night BK, thank you. Silver does look decent. The risk to reward really looks good on silver long right now. I don't like it as much on gold, but I do like it there. Do you think the dollar CAD can hit 137.15? Oh, yeah. Oh, I definitely do. J Money went long, Euro Swiss. I don't trade Euro Swiss any longer. See you when you get back, Night. Aussie CAD hourly looks like a nice short level. I don't even have the Aussie CAD up here. I have the Euro CAD, dollar CAD. That's it for my CAD pairs. I know some traders are looking at the New Zealand. Let's get this thing back up in full. Let's blow this thing up a little bit. There we go. New Zealand dollar short. Looking okay to me as well. So I'm biased short on the New Zealand dollar. I'm just going to put a little price action here to remind myself on that. Right about there. Just so I remember where I'm at when I look at it a little later on. Euro pound chopping around, isn't it? Chop, chop, chop on the euro pound. Overall, my bias on the euro pound is to the downside. I'm not confident enough to take an entry right now, but that's my overall bias on it. So I'm going to put a little arrow there and tuck that away to look at a little bit later today. Pretty quiet news day. Stock markets here in the U.S. are down just slightly, but just a little bit. Let's see what Trump had to say. I was trying to catch up on that. Fake news. Fake news. Yeah, fake news. All right. Nothing major as far as traders are concerned with Trump on the wire. OPEC, non-OPEC producers are considering extending supply cuts on Reuters. All right, we got that. Oil leaps above 49. Oh, WTI on OPEC rumors. Yeah, it's not 49 here. Subdued start to the U.S. trading open. All right. So a lot of the news wires are talking about OPEC extending for 9 months or more their oil production. So that gives us this little pop here on crude. Now, if crude does rise up, let's just say because of that news, let's say crude rises up and breaks through the 47.05 handle and maybe even gets back up into the 49s here, which would be a ways away. Let's just say that happens. If that happens with crude, we could see a decent pullback on the CAD pairs. Could see a fall of the Euro CAD or dollar CAD, pound CAD. And in my humble opinion, I think that's just going to be a better price to get long on those pairs. I still think when you enter in crude and the lumber and the dairy and what's going on in Canada with the Canadian dollar weakness lately, I still think the Canadian dollar is going to be one of the weaker currency pairs in the days and weeks to come. Currently looking at this momentum meter, we saw the Canadian dollar spike up. Now it's fell back down. This is the 1 hour, by the way. The weakest currency right now as we're watching is the Swiss franc. And then we have a lot of mix going on here as prices consolidating. You can look at the momentum meter and see dollar strength across the board. New Zealand CAD strength right now. Still long term, definitely down. Pound and Swiss are picking up. Euro's having some trouble though. Let's pull this out to the 4 hour. You can see the Swiss franc coming up from the top, driving all the way down to the lowest. Aussie's picking up a little. Just a nice indicator to look at, this momentum meter. Strongest currency on the board right now is New Zealand dollar, but not by much. Usually at this point, I usually go through some news and fundamental stuff, but I just don't have a lot to share really about the markets other than waiting for them to find their place. You know, I did talk with the guys a while back about maybe doing a Sunday evening live stream, but I just don't get that convinced about my trading results on Sunday evening when the market just opens here in the US. And Monday mornings are similar. There's a little bit more going on, but nice to let the market find its way, at least for a little while. So currently I'm long silver, down a few cents there. Selling the Euro Aussie and selling the dollar yen. Even when I flip through all the news feeds, there's just not much coming out. U.S. equity indices retreat from key psychological levels. Okay. So there's not a lot of meat on the bone here. Aussie, New Zealand. Take a look at that. I think Aussie, New Zealand's a fun one to look at because I'm learning it along with a lot of you. I don't trade this pair very often. We broke through our psychological levels here that we talked about last time. This was really a very good technical setup to be long on the Aussie, New Zealand. I think a lot of you were. We had the wick that was put in on July of last year, July 18th or so. October, there was another wick put in. I drew this gray line in. We touched here, and we came right back to it again. If we zoom in a little bit now on the hourly, we came right back down and bounced. When we broke it, it was an impulsive break. So we talked about having stops not too far beneath that, and also possibly having sell orders to trigger because of the impulsive nature of a strong level that we had at 107.60 to 107.70. Where is it right now? You know, next levels I haven't even looked at, to be honest with you. 106.42 is the next level that we have, sitting about 30 pips down on the 4 hour. Just from what I know about technical trading and nothing involving these two currency pairs right here, I would be pretty surprised if the Aussie New Zealand did not come down to touch this area. So let me zoom this out a little, give you a better view on that. There we go. I feel like the Aussie New Zealand will come down to touch this area here. From that point, if we're going to have a bounce or not, I'm really not at any liberty to try to give an opinion on that at the moment. 106.42. I mean, we've blown through all the areas of support. There's really no fib levels coming up. There's no price action levels coming up unless we look way back. Over here, there's these little wicks that were put in November of last year. The tops of those wicks come in roughly 106.57. I still think we're going to go lower. I think Aussie New Zealand is going to go lower. Airbus says 2 currency equals 1 pair. Not sure what that means, but still bearish on New Zealand, even with possible inflation. Yeah, right. Divergence to RSI and silver. You got it. Yeah, Aussie New Zealand isn't one that I do get too into depth with, but I think it's going to go down. I think it's going to continue to push down. If you're not in it right now, I think selling it would be the trade to have. Stops probably have to be up about 20 pips or so. Profit levels about 30 to get down to that level. And that's a big level on Aussie New Zealand. I mean, that's a huge one. There's a little wick that was put in here on February 27th, February 28th, down at 106.14. So I still like the short on Aussie dollar. I like a short or a sell on New Zealand dollar. I think the Aussie New Zealand, the reason that I don't trade it too much is generally speaking, not always, of course, that's why the pair, is there. But generally speaking, the Aussie and New Zealand do run fairly hand in hand a lot. Usually the Aussie New Zealand will move, but when we look at the momentum meter, we have 2 weak currencies or 2 strong currencies going against one another. That's why I prefer the Euro Aussie or Pound Aussie over that pair. Euro CAD, dollar CAD long looking better in my opinion as well now. Would you look at buying the bottom 64.28? The thing about buying the bottom on the Aussie New Zealand, when you get down to this 64.25, 64.28, the reward to risk is very good. So if you're a counter trend trader and you don't mind going against the grain a little bit, maybe a scalp at that area, but I would keep the stops fairly close. Because I assume what will happen, and I think this is sort of the commonsensical way to look at things, but if this bottom down here, way down in the corner, stuffed way down there, there it is. If this bottom breaks, it will probably be a similar move that we had when this strong area of support broke. We get that impulsiveness. So I would keep the stop pretty closely under, maybe even 10, 15 pips if you're going to be buying at the bottom. But when you look at history over months and years of trading, generally you want to follow that momentum and that trend, even if it's on a shorter time like the hourly or 4 hour, moderate term like the 4 hour. So you want to be continuing to sell down through that level as opposed to trying to pick the bottom. When do you post the interview of Bill Huppert? That's really up to the guys here at Forex Signals. I think Dominic's editing that. It's been done. I did it last week. I did check right before the live stream to see if it was up there yet, but it's not there yet. But it is done. Just have to keep an eye out for it. Sorry about that. Ladybug out of UJ long, full position for 35 pips. Nice job. Nice. 35 pips is a decent trade. You got it. So dollar CAD long, Euro CAD long, that's my bias. My trades are silver long, Euro Aussie short. And if you really do like the Euro Aussie short, my entry is basically right where market price is right now. Dollar yen still short. Trying to find the direction of the markets. You know, generally speaking, not always, but generally if the stock markets retreat, dollar yen will usually be a little bit more under pressure to the downside. Be interesting to see what happens today as crude goes through the next few hours of market with all the chatter from OPEC. Is it going to sort of shrug it off and continue to decline? Or is it going to catch a strong bid and bust up through 47.05? Possibly bringing some strength back into our very weak Canadian dollar. Later on this week in news, even tomorrow, pretty quiet. Annual budget release out of Australia. Wednesday, we're picking up some stronger news. We have the bank rate and cash rate on New Zealand. Wednesday, sort of like a New Zealand day as far as high impact news. Then we have the official bank rate, basically interest rate out of the Great British Pound on Thursday. And then a bunch of U.S. data on Friday morning. And then, of course, Friday and Saturday, we head into the G7 meetings where a lot of the countries get together and chat about currencies. Let me read that to you because the G7, they go on into the weekend. I think it's Friday, Saturday, yeah. G7 meetings are attended by finance ministers and central bankers from 7 industrialized nations: Canada, Italy, France, Germany, Japan, the UK, and the US. The meetings are closed to the press, but officials usually talk with reporters throughout the day, and a formal statement covering policy shifts and meeting objectives is usually released after the meetings have concluded. Both the comments and statements can create significant market volatility. So there you have the summary right off Forex Factory, G7 meetings. Most of the time in the past when those have happened, at least in the recent past, talking last year or so, there hasn't been a major shakeup in the Forex markets that I remember. But it could happen. Our buy on silver is just getting a tiny bit profit. $15 profit on one lot, just poking through. $60 now. Again, my stop on silver is sitting down here roughly at $15.90. I think it could even be a little bit closer. I'm going to leave it here for now and check back on it in a little while. So where do you set your target on a big momentous move like this on silver? First of all, we'll get our fib levels thrown in there. Take a peek looking left. We see that we have some potential resistance coming in around 1682. Zoom out a little bit more just to get bearings, see where we're at. So we shift the chart over a little bit. We see there's a little bit of confluence here. We got a fib level and a resistance level coming up. That would actually, that's not that far away of a target. And that would actually give us a really nice area to target. I think I'm going to pull my stops up just a little bit. Let's go just shy of 1597. I'm going to set my targets a little bit below this level, 1672. So there we have the silver trade idea, if I've ever seen one. We have our stops down at 1597 or so. We have our profit levels up around 1671, 1672. Gives us far greater than a 1-to-1 reward to risk. We'll just have to keep an eye on it. See how it goes. Not feeling the same about gold. Aussie New Zealand, we talked about that. We think that's going to fall another 30 pips or so. I would consider a pound CAD long. Yeah, thanks, Rick G. I would definitely consider a pound. I don't have pound CAD up with this broker, but I have it over here. I would definitely consider a pound CAD long. I think it's a good place to get long. Euro CAD, dollar CAD, or pound CAD. You betcha. Ellie Cat Smith, no problem. Pound Aussie. Do I have it up here? Could pull it up pretty easily. I prefer the Euro Aussie to the Pound Aussie. I looked at it on my laptop before I came into this live stream. I like the Euro Aussie short more than I like the Pound Aussie short. You might be thinking long, possibly, I'm assuming. I think we're going to see some more pound strength come in. I think the pound is going to beat out the Aussie and also beat out the euro. I think euro pound will move down and pound Aussie could move upwards. But as far as the euro Aussie cross, I think we're going to move downwards. If that makes sense. All right, everybody, I'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to be out for about 5 to 6 hours. I'll be on my mobile here, of course, always checking around. But then I'll be back all evening and hanging around during Asian session as well to talk with y'all and see where we're at. Have a great day trading, and I will see you then.